Good evening. Tonight, I've got so much I want to share with everybody, but I'm going to have to prioritize this because I think it's so important that everybody grasp this at this moment. And what I want to talk about tonight is and rule. Now, also we've heard it as divide and conquer. Is it C-O-N-Q-U-O-R? Sorry, I'm not the best speller either. So we have divide and rule or conquer. Now, we think we're a part of a system, and our system may use this technique on like maybe other people in the world, but you've got to understand it's being used on you. And it has for a very, very long time. Alright? Now I want to start you out with this. Washington, the District of Columbia. Alright? And what I want to point out is this word right here. Okay? Because a lot of times people talk about the goddess Columbia and all of this stuff. Okay, there's a whole nother meaning to this. And let me show you what I mean. Bia, or ba, means two. Column, C-O-L-U-M, or C-O-L-U-M-N, column, two columns. Now, I have spoke about this a lot. Two columns. There's a column, and here's a column. Now, these columns show up a lot in Masonry. Okay, it's a teaching in Masonry, the two columns. And what I'm going to throw in here now, I was talking to Trutheracy the other day, and we were talking about the bull, or he was talking about the bull. Okay, the bull, this is the Aleph in Hebrew. This is the ancient way of doing it. It looks like an N. Okay, that's Aleph now. Two horns. Okay, all right, and then two columns. Well, what I want to explain to you is divide and rule. To divide and rule, this is the basic principle right here. Alright? And what I'm going to tell you is 3 and 3. And now let me explain. I just want to read what Wikipedia says about divide and rule. In politics and sociology, divide and rule is a gaining and maintaining power by breaking up larger concentrations of power into pieces that individually have less power than the one implementing the strategy. Now, a while back, I was playing with one day a artificial intelligence, and this is called a hex sign, and a hex is six-sided. Alright? And so I was playing with the little artificial intelligence, and I said, what is the meaning of the hex symbol? And the little system came back and it says, oh, that's easy. It is reductionism. Okay, reductionism is when you take anything and divide it into 6 basic parts. There's 2, there's 4, there's 6. Alright? Now, here is your 3 and 3. And what these are, first they divide it in half. Okay, so let's say, for example, black, white. Okay? Or let's even look at Ferguson, Missouri. Let's say the young man was African American. Alright? And then a white cop shot him. So see, that divides people right there. Then they will take this and divide it. I'm going to do this. Well, here, let me do it here. It will be divided into 3 pieces, and then 3 pieces here. What you have to understand is who is 7. Because 7 is doing the dividing. Dividing people into 6 separate groups. Okay, 3 of them will be on this side, and then 3 of them are over here. Alright? Now, I'm going to try and show you a word that I got today in Hebrew because it was pretty profound. and this is kind of how more of this, which I've understood this for a very long time, but it's the hardest thing to get people to understand that they are a victim of reductionism. Now, and let me just kind of point this thing out too. In Scripture, we have Jesus, okay, and he united, because see, this works both ways. You can divide people, or you can unite people with this understanding. So when Jesus performed his first miracle, and I know it sounds like I'm jumping around, but when he performed his first miracle, he had 6 disciples. Okay, he united them. He was the 7th. Didn't matter what their work was, or or where they were actually from, or what tribe of Israel they were from. None of those things. He united them. Okay, but this program it's a two-way street. I mean, you can divide people or you can unite them. Well, when I just read you this definition of divide and rule, and this is Wikipedia, it's gaining and maintaining power by breaking up larger concentrations of power into pieces that individually have less power than the one implementing the strategy. Okay? So now here, you can do one of two things. You can be a peacemaker, all right, because the Scripture says, "Blessed is the peacemakers, for these are the sons of God." And a peacemaker is someone that is bringing common ground to two opposing oppositions. Now, if you're not a peacemaker, then the second thing, here in the South we have an old saying that says, "Spit in the middle and watch the trouble begin." Divide the people. Then from that, they're divided into 3 and divided into 3 again. So this is 3-3. I'm going to stop right here for a moment. All right, now I kind of draw this to maybe make it a little bit simpler for you, to show you the reductionism, because it's like a total of 6. All right, so now if listen, I'm just looking at the Ferguson situation here. All right, we can say black and the police. That divided right there. Now everybody is going to go into 2 separate paths here. All right, now, and on these 2 separate sides, there's the line. The line has been drawn. We have yes, no, and undecided over here. Boom, boom, boom. So these 3 here, once it's divided here, then it's divided into 3 more pieces. Yes, undecided, no. But they're black. So see, these are the only 3 choices that they have. But I'm not saying just black, because we had a whole lot of white people. We had Hispanic. I mean, there was everybody. There's a lot of people there, okay? But then the police over here, divide them up, okay? Same thing. Yes, undecided, no, all right? But this is reductionism. This is taking a situation and dividing it into 6 different groups. But what you gotta understand is the 7. Who divided here? Now, and I just want to kind of show you how old this is. It goes back further, but I'm only going to take you so far for right now, just so you can understand the concept. Okay, so I'm taking you to 2 Chronicles 3:17. 2 Chronicles 3:17. And we're talking about Solomon here. This is when Solomon was building the temple that David was told not to build. And he reared up the pillars. Okay, and pillars are a synonym. Synonyms are different words, but they mean the same thing. So a pillar and a column is the same thing. And he reared up the pillars before the temple, one on the right hand and the other on the left hand. And he called the name of that on the right hand Jachin, and the name of that on the left Boaz. All right. So now, and I'm just going to rough out here. You're looking at the temple, okay, which is basically square, okay, and then so here's one pillar column, and I've shown this in a lot of my older work, okay, but I just want to, it's just important that everybody gets it now, okay. So this is like the Jachin and the Boaz. Now, and actually, if you study your scriptures, this porch was actually called the porch of judgment. Okay, and there's actually a very important scripture. Jesus is talking, he's going into the temple, and he's standing on the porch of judgment. Now, this is also where Solomon, the baby, okay, he wanted to divide it in half. All right, so it goes further back, but this is just where you need to grasp the understanding of it. So it is a divide and rule, judge. Rule and judge are synonyms of each other. Both mean the same thing, but they're different words. Rule something, judge something. So what is happening? This understanding is being used right now. And people, like I said, it's a two-way street. If differences are pointed out, then we divide. But if you look at what is common, everybody can unite. You see, nobody looks the same. Nobody likes the same things. People can worship whatever way they want to worship. Okay, but what you've really got to be aware of, who's the seven? You know the saying about the horse, the donkey following the carrot? Okay, well, you got to kind of think who's holding the carrot. You know, I mean, the donkey never gets that carrot, but he goes and he works and he walks and he walks and he's chasing that carrot, never gets the carrot. But who is holding the carrot? Seven. All right. Now, and I want to show you, this was the word that kind of led to this. It is Aleph, Mem, Tav. And actually, Cece, if you see this in your paperwork, I saw a lot about the Tav. So I understand you're getting this too. But this is the significance of this. Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It's the beginning. Mem is the 13th letter of the Hebrew. It's the middle, and Tav is, was it 22nd? It's the last letter. I think it's 22, okay? So, but it's actually the beginning, the middle, and the end. So when you look at this, back to the columns again, we sort of have the beginning and the end. Boom, boom. Alpha and Omega. Beginning and end. The middle, okay? Jesus says, "Blessed is the peacemakers, for these are the sons of God." Well, a peacemaker is in the middle of two opposing. Now, if you're not a peacemaker, then I would basically call it like a troublemaker. Do you understand what I'm saying? So here's the thing about seven. Is seven a peacemaker or a troublemaker? But the world has got to understand that you're being divided and ruled by a very ancient formula called reductionism. Divide everything into 6 simple parts. But you got to be number 7. But like I said, you can also unite. And I just think with the world right now, everything that's going on, and it's just important that people understand this. When it's being done to you, you got to understand it's being done. It's almost like being hypnotized and not knowing you're being hypnotized. Well, there's a funny thing with hypnotism. Once you really understand how it works, it don't work on you no more. You see, a person that's ever studied any kind of hypnotism, once they have grasped how it happens and takes place, they're no longer a good subject. And see, a ruler needs a subject. S-U-B-J-E-C-T. Okay. But a subject, if a ruler does not exist without a subject. So if people could understand this, and we can eliminate the subjects, then the ruler can just stand there and scream all he wants. I mean, it's no longer effective. The program no longer works. And in my weird way, that's your Tav. And also, this is truth. And of course, Hebrew writes backwards. So this is Aleph, Mem, Tav. And the word is actually Emet, E-M-E-T. Emet is truth, all right? Versus falsehood. And this is the letter Shin. And it's sort of the concept of one column, but what's happening in the middle? Is it being divided or united? And that's where these two, this sort of explains that. This is like a taking away. It's like taking away from truth, which is a falsehood. Truth, falsehood. Taking away. And see, and that's the thing right now. Nobody knows about 7. It's taken away. It's a falsehood. Okay?